And this is the thing, every one of these stories, guess what? While I used other people's pictures, I knew somebody like this, like every one of these people in middle school. All the incidents I talked about happened. And I, being the good Christian that I was, walked on by. And the reason I'm telling you guys about this is I am 27 years old. I haven't been in middle school for years. Matter of fact, you guys weren't even born when I was in middle school, but I still think about these people. I think about the missed opportunities to connect with people. Even the guy who had it all together. I missed an opportunity to say, hey, let's go hang out at church. Sometimes we're like those two people at the beginning of the story. We just walk by on the other side and pretend nothing's wrong. But this is what I want you guys to remember. This is a little story from my real life. This happened. This is another real story. When I was in 12th grade, I knew this guy named Tim. I hung out with him. Tim was his real name. He and I were not very good friends, but we were friends of the same friends. You guys know the type of people. We would play football in the park all the time. And usually I was the guy who creamed him. He would come to school on Monday after a Saturday game and be all sore, like, not say hi to me. One day I was at a party with a bunch of people, and we decided it would be funny to play a prank on Tim. We filled up this bottle with all this nasty stuff, this 2-liter Mountain Dew bottle. It smelled bad. I mean, you were in 5 feet of this, you could smell it. It was horrible. And we knew that every single day, Tim's job, his mom gave him, was to check the mail. So we thought it'd be funny. We said to ourselves, let's put this nasty, smelly bottle in Tim's mailbox. The next day, we all waited in the bushes. We watched Tim get the bottle out of the mailbox. And we watched Tim throw up. Because it smelled so bad. It stayed there the entire night. We thought it was funny. It was the greatest joke in the world. 2 years later, I was 19 years old, and my sister comes in my room. She goes, you remember Tim? I said, yeah. He lives just down the street. She's like, no, he was coming out of the DMV on his motorcycle today. And this kid who just got his license hit him. He's gone. This was somebody that I walked on the other side of the road. I could have been a friend of him. I hung out with him a lot. And now for almost 9 years, I've been sitting down every day thinking about Tim. The opportunities I missed because I never reached out to him. Every time now I go out and I talk to somebody new, I think of Tim. There's an opportunity that I'm not going to miss. And this is an important topic, guys. I want you guys to think about this. Sometimes we take things for granted. We think that people are going to live forever. We think that everything is okay. It's part of being young. But all we have is one moment. Next year, you're all going to a different school if you're in 8th grade. When you're in high school, your senior year, chances are you're not going to see many of your friends very often afterwards. We get one chance. We get one conversation. We get one time to sit down and connect with somebody. That's all we get. All right, I brought some things I want to bring kind of as an illustration to you guys. Who knows what this is? Thank you, Cece. Wow, Cece's very smart. She goes to school. Thank you, Cece. You know something cool about eggs? Eggs can stand a lot of pressure. I'm squeezing this just about as hard as I can right now. A 7-pound chicken sits on an egg for months while the baby grows and grows and grows. But there's something about eggs. If you hit it really hard, if you drop it, if something just suddenly falls against it, what happens? It breaks. And a lot of times, the people we go to school with are kind of like these eggs. We have a tough exterior, right? We like to pretend everything's together. We can withstand the pressures of life. But sometimes all it takes is us making fun of somebody. Or purposely going out of our way to hurt somebody. Or my favorite, doing absolutely nothing. If you think about that, guys, can these eggs be fixed again? No. You might be able to glue them back together and make them look like eggs again, but they're not going to be the same. There's always going to be something missing out of those eggs, even if you manage to somehow magically glue them back together. But the cool thing about eggs, though, time and sit down and care for it and nurture it and help it grow, something beautiful comes out of it. Yeah. It grows into something. And guess what? Baby chicks grow up and they grow more chicks. And they grow more chicks, and so on and so forth. But like these damaged eggs, these eggs right here cannot reach their full potential. They won't turn into that. Because they're cracked, they're broken, they're damaged. And this is how we treat people, guys. We're talking about outreach this morning. We want to treat our friends kind of like a mom hen treats an egg. We want to help them grow. We want to help them grow into something much more beautiful than just an egg. Get rid of this tough exterior and grow into something so much more. But we can't do that if we just walk on the other side of the road. It takes somebody stopping and saying, yes, I'm going to invest my time in you. If you're not hurting or if you're hurting, I'm going to see what needs you have, and I'm going to meet them. You guys may have heard about this. It happened about 3 years ago. This kid everybody picked on. This kid nobody seemed to like. Even his teachers made fun of him. Went on a shooting spree at his college. Killed 32 people. And everybody who survived that day were not just physically scarred, but they were emotionally scarred. This was the guy who did the Virginia Tech massacre. Who remembers that? Pastor Brett and I were sitting down. We were watching his last words. And he was saying, you could have avoided this. If you would have made fun of me. Imagine if he had one good friend in his life. Do you think he would have probably done that? One good friend could have said, dude, what's wrong? Come and talk. We'll sit down and we'll hash this out together. But he didn't even have that. Instead, he felt he was picked on, he was persecuted, he had enough. So I want you guys to really consider this as we go into groups. Our neighbors are not just the people who live next door. Our neighbors are not just the people we like. Our neighbors are not just those favorite family members. Our neighbors are the people who pick on us. Our neighbors are the people who are rude, who are mean, who are nasty, because guess what? They're hurting too. Just like these eggs, somebody damaged them. Somebody's stepping all over them. I was talking to Jesse earlier, saying he had one opportunity to make things right to somebody he had made fun of in high school. You don't often get that chance. So I'm challenging you junior hires, you middle schoolers. I'm challenging you guys now. Don't walk on the other side of the road. Don't miss your opportunity. Don't miss your chance. If you've made fun of somebody, make it right. If you've walked by somebody, go and talk to them tomorrow. If you see that one person who everybody laughs at because they're weird, sit with them at lunch. One smile, one affectionate look, one conversation can make the entire difference for somebody's life. So we're going to pray, and we're going to go into small groups, and I really want you guys to really consider tonight's talk. Consider where you are. Are you just one of those Christians who says, I love God, I'm on fire for God, but I got to think about me? When you see the person in need, just sit and walk on the other side of the road. Are you like that nasty, mean, horrible teacher we talked about? Just stop and see a need and meet it. Please bow your heads with me. Father God,